Welcome to another Keelhauled podcast. I'm your host, CaptainLogun, and we've got a lot of Sea of Thieves news to cover today, so tie yourselves to the mast and hold fast. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you had yourselves a good week and a good weekend. I know I did. This week, I have none other than the Dread Pirate Doug joining me for this week's episode as we dive into how he got into Sea of Thieves, how he's been playing games, as well as coming up with the Race of Legends. And, of course, we got a Sea of News video this week to discuss more information that's coming with the next update, Haunted Shores, coming June 17th. So we've got that plus a whole bunch more to talk about in this week's episode of Keelhauled Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I hope you guys all had an awesome week and an awesome weekend. I have with me a very special guest and someone who has deserved to be on the podcast for plenty of reasons, but none other than just the fact that he's just a nice guy. He's just a good dude. So if you guys would join me in welcoming Dread Pirate Doug. Doug, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. I've had a great weekend. And it's just, I'm really excited about being on this podcast that I've been listening to for well over a year. Huge fan of the podcast.
Thank you.
And I've had a chance to you've interviewed so many people, obviously like Mike Chapman, that it's just awesome to hear them talk in general. And you've also interviewed people that I know, like Carities and Rocco. And it's just been, I'm a huge fan. This is very exciting.
Awesome. Yeah, well, it's a great community, and when I can get a rare employee on, that's the dessert on top right there, man. That's the gold. I love that. But yeah, I rely on the community to give me information, give me stories and news and things to talk about, just as much as the community likes to rely on streamers, podcasters,
sure.
Twitch, YouTubers, stuff like that, to be able to give them news and whatnot. But there's a specific reason, and I figured I'd hold off just for the moment on why I have you on. But first, I wanted, if people don't know you, they may have heard of you and they may associate you with Race of Legends, but I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of talk a little bit about who you are. Where did you get into Sea of Thieves? What got you started? What was your gaming and stuff? So how long have you been gaming? Let's start there.
I've been gaming since I was pretty young. We didn't have consoles, but we had a PC when I was younger, and I played a lot of Command and Conquer. And then I got really hard into StarCraft for several years. I was not good, but I was competitive. And if you know anything about StarCraft, just being competitive on it just generally in StarCraft was a bit of an achievement. I think I had something like 100 losses before I took my first win.
Wow.
I mean, I got into a little.
That sounds about average.
Too. It was like 99, I think, or 2000 before I got into it. So the community was really well established. But I had a chance to get into a few little clan tournaments and do okay. And nice. Love StarCraft. It was great.
It's so good, dude. I still love watching Artosis and them play that and cast the Brood War remake and stuff.
Yes.
It's such, and Command and Conquer Red Alert. Yes. I'm so tempted to pick up that remaster just to see how it is.
I'm about to grab that. I just finished. Somehow I'd never played Command and Conquer 3, and I love it so much. It was such a fantastic story. I beat everything, including the expansion, except for the last Nod campaign. I cannot, man, that's a really hard one. But it's like everything you loved about Command and Conquer Gold and updated and better and a little higher tech. And it's just, I had such a great time playing that game.
That's really cool.
Very
I may
nostalgic.
have to jump into that.
Very nostalgic. But then I high school, college, I played a lot of Halo at friends' houses, but I never actually owned an Xbox. At one point, I had a buddy that was going out of town, and my parents were also going out of town that weekend when I was like 14, and he loaned me his Xbox for the weekend, and I beat the entire first Halo on Legendary. I don't think I slept for the whole weekend. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh, that's so good. So then, have you gone on with Microsoft in a hard way, or did you dabble in the rest of the console experiences, or did you mostly stick to PC?
I had a friend that got an Xbox. Boy, this is like 4 years ago now, 5 years ago, but that like not that long ago. Had never owned a console really. And we had an Atari when I was a kid, but even then it was outdated even then. But I never had a chance to really get super hard into gaming. At that point in my life, I was working a lot, and I would basically just come home, watch a little Netflix, go to bed. And then a buddy of mine got an Xbox, and he was like, "You got to get an Xbox so we can play like GTA together and stuff like that." And so I did eventually. I got an Xbox One about 5 years ago, which was even the Xbox One had been out for a while at that point. But I had a ton of fun with it. And I really, I played a lot of PUBG. I played a lot of, I went into GTA Online for a while there, GTA 5, and like kind of dabbled, but like I would play a game for a while, like a Call of Duty game or whatever, and then, get bored with it after a couple of months. And never really, honestly, I don't even consider myself to be like a hardcore gamer. Like I'm not, any better at games than most people. I play a lot of first person shooters and stuff, but it varies. And then Sea of Thieves came around, and I loved the game at first. I played it a lot. The Hungering Deep was awesome, but then Cursed Sails was what really hooked me in. I made Legend just before Cursed Sails, and it just blew my mind. Like the epic visual of that skeleton ship coming up out of the ocean. Ripped my brain in half. And so ever since then, like it's just been, I'm gonna just play this game forever now, I guess. Like there's no end in sight. They're still adding stuff. I mean, I think for a lot of us, and I saw a lot of this on Twitter, the Emissary update felt like a relaunch in some ways. Like we're going on voyages again, and we're, focusing on specific trading companies. Obviously the level cap increase was a big part of that too, but like, boy, it's just been the last couple months have been awesome. I've been having so much fun.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. The game has been so good, and it's funny because I've been watching a lot of the information going on about Steam and the concurrency, and I've been running into tons of new pirates who are just jumping onto the Steam client for the first time.
Yep.
And then I sit back and I'm looking at like Destiny fans that are like, oh, we got a roadmap. And we're gonna know it's gonna come out, and we're gonna be dropping $30 every one of these expansions. And I'm like,
I played Destiny for a while there too. Yeah, no, it is, and like even Destiny, which kind of has like an open world kind of feel to it, like or even GTA 5. There's just no open world game that gives you this much freedom. It's fantastic, and there's so many, those weird little things where you run into somebody who's doing something odd or unexpected, or you're a more experienced pirate and you get a chance to show someone new around or whatever. Like that stuff only happens in Sea of Thieves. It's fantastic.
Oh, it's funny. It's so much. It's weird when you're happy and elated about the fact that you just escorted this new kind of greenhorn pirate to the outpost, and you're sitting there watching him turn in treasure that you just dumped on his sloop, and he leaves a collector's chest in front of the gold hoarder, and you're like, bro, you can sell that, right? And he's like, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. Just you haven't tried, but just hold the thing up to the dude and you can sell it. He's like,
mind blown.
And you just and you're like, you're gonna need a new hat, dude, because that's that. But yeah, those moments are the dumbest thing in the world. And out of context, you walk like, I had a really good time tonight. I actually showed a pirate that you can sell a collector's chest, and you're like, what's so special about that? It's like, do you know how many times you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know what to do with this dumb thing, and you just leave it there, and meanwhile you're just like leaving gold on the floor for anyone to walk up on? That's a great moment for people.
It is.
And I absolutely love this game. So you've been doing Sea of Thieves for a while since launch, and you've been having a good time. It's kind of your main game, but you didn't just leave it at that. A lot of people would just kind of leave it at that, but you decided to take it a little bit of a step further.
Things got out of hand.
and you decided to get a little down the rabbit hole on this. So, Alice, tell me, what do you do for Sea of Thieves that has garnered so much love and attention for you in the Sea of Thieves community?
Yeah, no, that's a really good way to phrase it, because that's exactly how I phrase it in my head. It's like, I could just be playing the game like a normal person. Wouldn't that be awesome? Anyway,
yeah.
so we the Race of Legends, the very first one was in December 2018. It was the Crimson Tide Pirates against the Bandits of the Forsaken Captain. It was 2 sloops. They went from Smuggler's Bay to Sanctuary, where they drank in the tavern, and then it was the first person to get back to Smuggler's Bay and light the beacon. And that was the course. That was the first one. There was maybe 6 people total involved in making that happen. And it was, by the way, the Crimson Tide Pirates went on to win 2 grand championships. They've won 2 of our tournaments now, and they're one of our most prolific crews. There's a lot of crews from back in the day that are like still sticking around, which means a lot to me. But yeah, so it was basically my idea was a race, but I was like, a race from just point A to point B and back again is just not going to be that engaging. And it's not just about keeping your sails in the wind all the time that makes you good at maneuvering your ship. You need to be able to communicate with your crew. You need to be able to PvP. You need to know, even how to use your harpoons, how to react to things that are happening to you that you weren't expecting, but also how to plan ahead and have assigned roles. And so the Race of Legends was created to be kind of a compacted version, almost like a pop quiz on how good of a crew you are, broadly speaking, in the game, because the Race of Legends incorporates all the different mechanics. Some obstacles are about maneuvering your ship. Some are about PvP. Some are about coordinating a rowboat and a galleon to go through and around an island at the same time. You got to sail a galleon through Thieves Haven at full speed, which is not easy to do, but it can happen. And at one point we had 2 ships coming opposite directions, 2 galleons coming opposite directions through Thieves Haven, and they somehow did not hit each other. And that it's the most anticlimactic thing that's ever happened, because obviously I thought they were going to hit each other, and I'm on one of the ships. I'm like, oh, we're going to see a collision, and nope, we're not. They missed each other. How is that even possible?
Yeah,
but it's just
so. I'm really curious, because as you were talking, it made me realize something, and I don't know why this didn't click in my head, but in the most recent years of World of Warcraft, and I know you're a StarCraft fan, but I don't know if you've played much World of Warcraft and kept up with it.
Much.
Okay. So in World of Warcraft, you've got dungeons that you run with a team of 5, and you generally have to coordinate stuff, and there's a lot of obstacles that you have to overcome, but it's a very PvE element.
Right.
There's not any PvP aspect to it, but there is a part of the game that is PvP focused only, and that's their arena or their battlegrounds.
Yeah.
And for a long time, Blizzard has solely focused their esports on arena, where they have these tournaments, and the teams basically come together, and it's a long drawn out fight between 2 teams of 3 as they go through the brackets and see who can take out the other team and stuff like that. And it is the most boring thing to watch. It is so boring, because it's literally just like, all right, we got to time our cooldown so that we have to try and knock out one person.
Right.
And when one person gets knocked out, they concede the game. And I'm like, nah, there's two people alive. What are you talking about?
Oh, wow. The first person that dies, they concede. That's rough. That's rough.
Yeah, it's so bad, man. It's like it's like getting a Zerg Baneling rush on in the first 3 minutes, and you're just like, oh, I don't know how to combat this. So you just GG out.
you just call it every time.
Put up a bunker.
Anyway, yeah.
I know, right? Wall off your damn base. Yeah. It's easy. Oh, no. So the interesting thing that you're talking about with Race of Legends, it is solely a type of esport, I would call it.
Sure.
That focuses on more of the PvE aspect, but it does have PvP portions of it. Whereas Arena is solely PvP with a little bit of PvE element to it.
A little bit.
And the thing that the parallels that I'm drawing here is that it is taken almost 12, 13 years for WoW in Blizzard to figure out that the thing that is interesting in esports is not arena, because we're so sick of watching people sit there and time their cooldowns.
Right.
It's these mythic dungeon invitationals where you get 2 teams of 5 who have to decide who their characters are, what their specs are. They get an even set of gear, so it's all
okay.
even across the board. And you have to go through these. You have to run through these instances that are. Two teams have to run the same instance, and how they plan or how they strategize their way through this instance determines if they're going to survive. If they die, then they add time to their run, and whoever finishes the instance with the right requirements completed with the shortest amount of time wins. Nice. And that has taken off for them. And I don't know why I'm plugging them right now. They don't need plugs, but the point being is the thing that people love to watch is what they do in the game. And most people don't play arena. Most people play adventure.
Sure.
And you're doing the thing that I think Rare needs to pick up on. The Rare needs to give us a way for us to craft these races, these obstacle-based races where you have to do things in between just sailing the boat, because that's what we do. So if you had a specific Kraken event where the Kraken spawns on each person or on one person, then you have to overcome that. Yeah. And then at a different point, it spawns on a different crew. You know, you had these timed PvE encounters mixed with a little bit of PvP just to kind of like test out test how good people are with different events.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And that's like, it was eye-opening, because I was sitting there and I'm like, WoW has done really well since they started doing the Mythic Dungeon Invitational. And I see where you are taking those steps with the Race of Legends and how that could be a better arena.
Yeah, and like the beauty of Sea of Thieves is that perfect balance and combination of PvE and PvP. And it can be either game, or like, I mean, hey, if you want to jump into Sea of Thieves and PvP all day, 100% do that. And if you want to jump in and mostly just sail away and avoid conflict, you can do that too. But you're always doing both to some degree, no matter what. That's what's so beautiful about the game. And that's what I've tried to bring into the races is everything that's awesome about Sea of Thieves, specifically sailing around in Sea of Thieves, but like everything that's awesome about it, the PvP and the combat is a ton of fun. Even bringing some elements of like the ship to ship combat with the cursed cannonballs that you can fire. It's exciting. I have a lot of fun with it. And it's, we've done it over 50 races now. We're in our 5th season. We've had close to 400 people probably compete across all our events, somewhere in the 350 to 400 range. We crossed 350 a little while ago, and I haven't kept track for the last few weeks, but something in that neighborhood. And I mean, honestly, probably close to, I would guess, at least 200 people have helped us set up and run a race on some level. Not even counting the competitors, because we just sailing around getting the ships for it for months and months there was a huge time commitment.
Yeah, for sure. And that's made a little bit easier thanks to some help from Rare. But this is it's interesting because from the sounds of it, this is something that you would imagine there are set crews, set communities that they jump on, they come, and it's just a competition. But this is actually something that if you're listening to the podcast and you have a crew that you can actually participate in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you can jump into so what I would recommend is, if this sounds interesting to you at all, first off, I would go follow Dread Pirate Doug on Twitch, so you can catch some of the streams that he does when they are running the Race of Legends or the Curse of Legends. And if that looks like something you think you can compete in, then I would highly recommend that you head over to raceoflegends.com. And on the front page, it gives you all the information that you need as far as signing up for events. There's seasons. So each season has a different run and different requirements. So you want to make sure that you read through that and get familiar with it, because that is your opportunity to practice, to get prepped for the run so that you can try and optimize it before having to run into any other crews. And if you're out there in adventure, the likelihood of something going wrong is higher. So the better prepared you are is solely based on how much time you spend actually practicing for these runs. But
yeah, and you can tell
as
through
far
practices, you can always tell. You do really well.
Yeah, and as far as I know, there's no cost to signing up.
Oh no,
is that correct?
No. Yeah, you
it's
can
all
go to
free.
the website and fill out the form. We do get a lot more applications for spots than we have spots, but we always try and get new crews in every season so that everybody gets a chance to experience it. Something else that we're in the process of building out right now to get even more people racing is a series of satellite tournaments. The only one that I can actually talk about is the one that's going to be done by Sea of Thieves, Sea of Thieves Spain. Fantastic community. They've competed in the races and done really well. So they're actually running their second Race of Legends satellite tournament. I believe it's June 27th. And I'm very excited about that. They do a fantastic production for it. They do a great job. Really excited for that. And then I'm talking to several other communities as well right now that I can't quite announce, but we're going to have quite a few of these going on, hopefully in the near future, which I'm really excited about because that's just more people getting a chance to experience the races, but without me having to do more races.
Right. Yeah. Doug, you're starting your own fight club, buddy.
Yes.
I hope you know that.
Yeah, we're going to have chapters and then someday we'll do something dramatic. Yeah, totally down.
So and part of the reason why you're coming on this episode is because you and I actually have something kind of exciting to talk about. So do you want to do the honors since it's your baby?
I'll go for it. So if you go to raceoflegends.com, I've got a page up, raceoflegends.com/tales of legend with dashes between tales and of legend. So this is the basic idea. It's essentially like a Sea of Thieves Toastmasters. I have some friends that don't play the game, and especially I used to be real bad about this. Every time I would get on a phone call with them after I've been sailing, I had to tell them the story of that sail. And I was like, well, we just thought we were going to run some gold hoarders. And then we got hit by a Meg. Then as soon as we killed the Meg, the Kraken hit us. And then there was a skeleton ship that came in. And then we saw that the fort had gone up. So we went over to the fort, but there was somebody there. And we all have those stories. If you've played Sea of Thieves at least once, you have some kind of story because every sail is unique. So the idea of the event, Tales of Legend, is that you guys are going to have a chance to just jump into a really chill stream with a bunch of people that love the game. And you're going to have 8 minutes to tell the story of your sail. You don't have to go the full 8 minutes. That's just the limit. And you can tell an experience that you had. Maybe it was the craziest thing that's ever happened to you. Maybe it was a battle that you got into where you turned the tide at the last second. Maybe it was a battle you lost, but you had so much fun that it's one of your favorite stories from your time sailing. All of us have a ton of that. So that's what we're building this around. We're literally going to hop into a server. We're all going to go hang out in a tavern. And you guys could use emotes. You could use music and sound effects if you really wanted to. But you could use whatever you have at your disposal to just tell us. And then the people in the stream will get to vote for kind of a storyteller of the week. Whoever's story they enjoyed the most or whatever. It's not exactly a competition. I think it's just going to be a ton of fun and a really cool way to hang out. And, boy, we all have some of those stories that just, wow. And then you guys somehow sold it all. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's the key there. If you're listening to this podcast, it's because you generally like to keep up on the news. But I love having the first mate's log and the captain's log on the podcast. It's one of the things that resonates the best with you, the listener. So this was kind of a good way to try and break this out so that it's available in a condensed form, something that is a sure thing once a month that we can at least get some good content out there for people and their stories. And I like to think of it kind of like rap battles or lip sync battles where it really takes into account the full performance. The stories, the meat of the battle, but the toppings are what you bring to the telling of it. Because as dramatic as you are, if you can't, or in it, I'm trying to think of a good way to put this without being rude, but basically if you are a good presenter, then you can tell the story really, really dynamically, and that makes a huge difference in whether it resonates. It's kind of like a joke, the better the joke, the easier it is to tell, but the better tell for the joke, even the worst joke can still be funny.
Yep.
So we're going to be doing that, and have we set a date for anything yet? I don't think we've quite worked out
you mentioned
when we're going to be doing it.
That would have been a good thing to nail down.
Right. So
good call.
regardless, if you head over to raceoflegends.com, you can mash the little hamburger icon, and there's going to be a section there called Tales of the Legend. And what you can do is you can actually head over there. It's got a place for you to put your name, your Discord, or your Gamertag in, your email address, so that we can get in touch with you, but also to give like a summary of your story. Now, obviously, with your story, we want it to be something that you're really passionate about, but also we want it to make sure that it's clean for everyone too. If you listen to the podcast, I'm kind of a big stickler on the whole keeping it clean. I like
agreed.
this to be something so that parents can listen to it in the car with their kids, or while they're relaxing out on the back patio. I want to make sure that everyone can enjoy pirate stories without having to worry about curse words or any kind of profanity or anything that's kind of over the loop. If you want Late Night with Logan, there's a place for that, but we want to keep things clean so that you don't have to worry about this being like a late night show with suggestive stuff. So it's easy with Sea of Thieves being a teen rated game to kind of get in the moment, but it's going to be fun, and we're going to have a really good time. And I cannot wait to hear some of the stories that come from the community on this. Yeah. And we're going to be, that's kind of the whole secret project that I've been working on in the Discord. If you guys have been putting your stories in there, I want you to record those down so that when the time comes and it's time to kind of step up to tell your tale, I want to hear you actually say it. I want to hear you actually tell the story with your own voice. So we're going to have some news as the weeks go on. We'll nail down a date and a time, and we'll put that up somewhere. I'll talk about it on the podcast when we have a little bit more stuff. But I'm just happy that we actually have a moment to actually kind of announce it. We've
been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, so I'm so happy that we're actually able to talk about it for once.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm so excited for this one. And even if you're just learning, you want to learn how to tell stories better. Even if you're not like the most eloquent person that's ever lived, like come on and tell your story anyway. It's probably a great story. And it's a supportive environment. It's a safe place.
Yeah,
just come and hang out, tell your story. We'll hang in there with you. It'll be great.
Yeah. And if you get stuck, just barrel through it, because I know a lot of people who part of the Toastmasters is overcoming that fear of speaking in public, learning how to try and speak as eloquently and as cleanly as possible. So even if you aren't 100% the best speaker or a Toastmaster, I guess would be the good way to. There's ways that you can kind of learn on how to present yourself. So say maybe this is something you want to start up on your own, or maybe this is something that you want to tell other friends to get into the game. The better you sound, or the more passionate you sound, the better it is to just feel get some positivity in your life, especially right now.
Yeah,
and it's nice that we're going to be trying to do something that is outside of the norm, I guess, for CC, because this was kind of born out of the idea of Toastmasters. And the thing that I tend to equate it to is when Mike Chapman and a lot of the team tend to talk about the thing that they love with Sea of Thieves is that you can go out, you can have a battle, you can meet up with another crew and go head to head and try to overcome like who's going to win, who's going to lose, who gets the treasure and stuff like that. And at the end of it, you go to a tavern, you have some grog, and you laugh over the story.
Yep.
And you tell the story to other people. And that's kind of the idea is we have a lot of the battling, we have a lot of the racing, we have a lot of the adventure that's out there, but rarely do we ever get to sit down and kind of recount the tale to others. And this is kind of the forum that we're trying to build for that. A lot of people have good experiences. They may sound similar, but they're passionate and important to each person because they were the ones that participated in it. Ahoy there, pirates. I hope you're enjoying the podcast thus far. I wanted to pause the show for a moment and talk to you about the future of the show. Since the beginning of the podcast, I have been a one-man show, and I produce it by myself and have community members as well as rare employees come to talk about Sea of Thieves, which is nothing new to you, I'm sure, but as of this episode, I'm happy to announce that I've actually joined up with Tom's, aka Robots, over at the robotsradio.net podcast network. This is going to help me get the show some more visibility with a larger network of listeners, as well as open up opportunities for me to start promoting products I would use with discounts from these companies. But that's not all, because there are a ton of great podcasts on the network. And if you head over to robotsradio.net, you'll see, or you'll start to kind of get an idea of what kind of shows they have. Personally, I've been listening to the Cyberpunk Lorecast as well as the Fallout 76 Lorecast, but there's one called Fresh Tomatoes, which is a movie podcast that I'm going to probably start picking up this week as well, too. And the reason I'm bringing this up to you now is because I'm planning on putting in some trailers for other shows in the podcast. I would venture a guess that if I enjoy listening to them, then there's a good chance you'll enjoy listening to them as well. And with a little time and effort, I hope to be able to start offering you discount codes on different products that will in turn support the network and my show directly. Making it easier for me to take care of the software and the production costs of the show. It means a lot to me that you listen to the podcast, and I don't want you to think that I'm doing this lightly or for a quick buck, because that's not what that's not what I really expect from this partnership. I will still have full control over my show, and we'll be putting in trailers and promotions I deem relevant to you as well as myself, because I'm going to be probably using them as well. I hope that you'll trust me with this decision and give the shows on the network a chance to win you over the way that they've won me over. Each episode, I plan to put in a chest turning in sound to cue you into when there's going to be an ad or trailer for another show or for a product. There's also going to be another chest turn in sound at the end to let you know when it's finished. If you have any questions or thoughts, I'm always open to suggestion, but I'm hoping that you trust me with looking out for you. And thanks again for what has become one of my favorite things during the week. And here's a taste of what to expect in the future.
This is Robots, the creator of the Robots Radio Podcast Network and host of the two original shows on the network, the Fallout Lorecast and the Elder Scrolls Lorecast. These two shows have rocketed up the iTunes charts. They both together have over 150 five-star reviews in only a couple of months, with bite-sized episodes that take you step by step through the background of the games and the game worlds. They're thought-provoking, well-produced, and a lot of fun. I recommend you go check them out at robotsradio.net or on any podcast reader, podcatcher, whatever you use, iTunes, Spotify. Again, that's the Fallout Lorecast and the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, available everywhere.
And speaking of participating in it, I think now's a good time to talk about June 17th, because I think that's going to be kind of a big deal for a lot of people. What do you think?
Yeah, I am extremely excited about this next update. There's so much coming, and I'm so excited. The scale of what they're doing continues to expand. You know, some stuff is, like last month we got some quality of life improvements. We got, some nice little, just nice things that made life a little easier. Some tweaks to some things here and there. But boy, this update is, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
And I'm curious because you mentioned this earlier, and I was just kind of piecing them together. You really dove in during Cursed Sails.
Yes.
And that was the rise of PvE ships in the Sea of Thieves. Haunted Shores is basically a bigger version of that.
Yeah. Yeah, 2.0. Yes.
I feel like we're finally getting a threat. Now, from what I can tell, this is essentially ghost ships, like legit ghost spooky ships on the ocean, but there are a lot.
Like a lot. Like
this is not just like two at a time waves, breath in between. This is like, there's a lot, buddy. I hope you go in knowing you don't just sail through these and think, it's not a big deal. They're not going to hit me. It's like, no, this is an armada. This is a fleet.
I definitely saw a cannonball that was screaming in that trailer. So pretty excited to find out what that means.
Dude.
So amped
it's
about
so
this.
Spooky. It's so crazy. I looking at some of the stuff that was in the trailer. It reminds me of I'm trying to think of a good way to explain it. If you haven't gone to Disneyland, this is kind of a hard thing to really understand, but in Disneyland, they have the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And that ride it's kind of fun because there's the Haunted Mansion as well. They have these effects that they have like projections on mirrors that kind of give you this illusion that there's this kind of wispy I'm doing such a bad job of this. Holy cow. Essentially, they make it look like there's a freaking ghost in the thing, and you're just like, oh god. But yeah, so this is basically this. So the Order of Souls is going to have voyages to go out and take on these fleets. The thing that surprises me the most about these fleets is these are not your typical kind of encounter. They're not just the standard skeleton ship. They've got a screaming ball that is like a blunderbuss to the side of your ship. So it's going to be like a meg bite. They've got exploding powder kegs that they drop behind them.
Mines?
Yeah. Mines. What?
It's going to be so good. This is a whole new enemy type.
Yeah. I love it.
I'm so excited. And I know there's like some other new loot, and I'm sure there's new cosmetics and all that stuff. But yeah, this is going to be, I'm pretty sure, my go-to world event for a while. And cannot wait. Oh boy, it's just a few more days now too. Nothing quite like waiting for a great Sea of Thieves update.
Yeah, totally. It looks so awesome. And I can't, oh man. The thing that I wanted to kind of like, I want to know more about is there's the portals that these ships are sailing through. So, they got to be coming from the Sea of the Damned. Yeah. It's the only place that we know of that would have these. So there are now portals to the Sea of the Damned. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to find out. Like, I want to know, like, is this how we get to the Sea of Damned? Can we go visit the Sea of the Damned? Yes. I've been wanting this ever since the art book came out, and they had those images of the Sea of the Damned docks and stuff, and I'm like,
yep, it's in there somewhere. It exists in someone's head, and I have no idea what's coming, but it would be so cool if especially if you're in the Sea of the Damned, maybe if you get killed, you spawn back into real pirate life, and instead of having a ferry of the damned, you have to kill yourself to get back to your ghost ship.
Oh god, that would be cool. That would be so funny if you had to. I would, and the best part is if you actually had to, like, say you went back to the ferryman and you just had to like jump off the side of the ship and start swimming to like something else, and the ferryman's like, "What are you doing? Yeah. What am I even out here for? You can't just jump off the ship." And you're like, "Yeah, I can."
Yeah, I feel like we're either going to go that direction, or as we fight Flameheart, we're going to have to seal those off. I really hope it's the former. We'll find out. Yeah. I'm excited, though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really awesome to see this kind of come into play, and I can't wait to kind of dig into the lore aspects of it and whatnot. But this is just one of the things that they teased. Like, they didn't okay. If you've been listening to the podcast, you've probably heard me talk about things that I want. And, big surprise, Sea of Thieves gamer wants stuff in Sea of Thieves game and has ideas and expects dev team to implement them exactly how, so he can point to it and be like, "I did that." So But we're getting a quality of life fix that I think a lot of people like. I'll just go into it. We're getting shanty selection, and I can't wait. It's so cool.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Shanty selection, and I believe new shanties as well.
Yes, 8 new shanties, I believe. I think it's 8.
We've gotten one in the last 2 years, and now we're getting 8. This is a big deal.
Well, we've right? You're right.
The one.
Yep. Yeah. That's I was thinking about it, I was like, no, we must have gotten at least one more. What about no, we didn't. It's just been the Merrick one. Son of a bee.
That was it. Yeah, they've added more instruments than shanties in the last 2 years.
That's oh my god! But you know what? I would much rather have the banjo when we did than not.
Agreed. Yes. Agreed.
But so we're getting shanty selection. We don't know a ton about it, but it does look like there is a major overhaul to the UI for the radials. So the left and right bumpers, it looks like those are going to be majorly changed. Because as I'm looking at like the imagery of it, the shanty selection, it looks like it is built into a new type of quick selection. So when you pull up your equipment, you've usually got like bait and throwables and stuff. But in the image that I'm looking at, and this is, if you're interested, the video link that I'll have in the show notes, if you go to 9 minutes and 12 seconds, there's an image of you pulling up your equipment's radio. And now instead of just throwables and more, you've got throwables on Y, B on shanties, X on more, and A on quests.
Oh yeah,
and
I'm pulling it up right now and looking at it.
So that's got me. It's got me kind of curious now, because if you've got everything from the right bumper on your left bumper, what the heck is the right bumper going to be for then? Because at this point, all I'm seeing is everything is condensed on the left bumper, and you've got your equipment. You've got your throwables, you've got your shanties, you've got your instruments and stuff on the second part of the radial, and then you got your quest logs on there as well. So I'm curious to find out what they're going to be doing with the right bumper that will help kind of. I don't even know what they could do, but I'm sure we'll probably find. I mean, it's like 3 days away, so it's not like I got to wait long.
We're getting there. I can't wait though. It is going to be interesting. You know, something Sea of Thieves is doing a good job at that I don't think they get credit for is so many of these games as a service, after they've been out for a year or two, and then it tends to kind of snowball and get worse, is the menus are so complicated. There's so many layers to the menu. There's some stuff that you really shouldn't use because it's kind of a relic of this thing before, but you can also use it for this. They didn't want to take it out of the game. And
I mean, like Duke.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
I mean, you're not wrong. But overall, sure, the whole mercenary versus build dread adventure thing. Yeah. But like for the most part, and like quality of life improvements like this one, I think are a good example, is they're continuing to evolve the interface a little bit. Even where it's like, hey, do you want to go on a tall tale or do you want to do a voyage? Like highlighting the tall tales, which, for the first year there, were a little bit hidden for especially, new players. And so I'm excited to see that continuing, hopefully in this update. I'm sure that there's more cleanup coming. If I had to guess, if I were Duke, I would be nervous.
Yeah, totally. Can I just say I was talking to Thor Von Blitz on a sale with a super pack in Space Admiral Ors yesterday, just to make sure that they're credited. But we had a discussion where it was literally the same thing, and it was like it didn't have to be said, but it was nice to know that I wasn't alone on this. That it felt like a lot of the Black Merchant archive should be pushed out to and. I originally was saying that they should be pushed out to the original vendors out in the actual shops.
Yeah.
I have since amended that opinion because Thor was suggesting this, and I think it's a great idea. Push it out to the C posts. Make the C posts have something more than just the 3 items that they have and some interesting dialogue. Let's give them some love. Let's put some stuff in their hands, and that way you can actually run into you turn in your fish, or you look for some supplies, and something that I don't think a lot of people are aware of that are playing on Steam, and I didn't think about it till just now, but anything that you buy from a C-Post vendor is discounted. And that's something that I hope comes as a visual representation when Rare does a passover on what they want to do next for their quality of life fixes. I hope that they show that this is like a slash through the old price and a new sale price.
Yep.
And it gives people an indicator beyond who were in the game when those first came into the game that were like, oh, cool. Well, this is a cheaper way for me to buy my supplies, because I don't think anyone in the game, like, can you tell me offhand what the base cost of an Eye of Reach is?
Not even a little
Doug, you've been playing this game. You've been playing this game for a long time, Doug. How come you can't just
I'm still hitting islands at like 30% of the time when I go past one. But I've been playing this whole time.
The hitting the island thing, that's just to make sure it's still there.
Yeah,
that's,
just a quick check on how the island's doing, making sure it's still stable.
Doing okay? You still there? They're good? All right. Look good. You're looking good. I like it. You're looking real good. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. You have a good day.
I love it when a new player hits the island. They're just like, oh, no. Oh, we've got holes in the ship. Are we stuck? Oh, we're going backwards. Somebody, of course, they drop the anchor immediately after they hit the island. And then you're on a crew with a bunch of people, that have been playing since launch, and you smash into the side of an island at full sail, and everybody's like, oh, whoops. Somebody runs,
you become so numb to it,
and bails it, and everybody else just keeps doing what they were doing. Or even I love that.
Even the thing that I love is it's one of the two, right? They're either like oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, and they're running around like Muppets with their hands waving in the air. They're like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Or it's the complete opposite, and they run onto the island. And they're like, cool, ship's fine, let's go. We're gonna get some treasure. And you're like, wait, no, did you not? There's a hole in your ship. Get back there, and they're like, I'm gonna go kill skeletons. And you're like, no, fix your ship.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've definitely seen both. It's very entertaining either way.
Yeah, it's a good stuff. So to get back to shanties, we're getting new shanties. We can finally play Grog Maze, Jolly Good Fellow, Happy Birthday, Bosun Bill 1812, which I'm struggling to remember what that one is, but I know it's a piratey one. And I'm excited. I'm excited, dude. So the one thing I want to toss out there to the devs, and devs, I know you guys listen from time to time, and I love you very, very much. I hope that the tech has worked out so that we can start buying shanties. And if that happens, I would just like to remind you, I had a wonderful idea about the little music boxes in all of the different shops and taverns where you can hit the button. It's like, I would just like to be able to access the little music box and customize what different shanties I want to have. So that way, when I'm out sailing with other people, I can play a shanty that someone may not have. Yeah. And they can join in. And then they can have that shanty if they want. Just saying.
That would be amazing.
Be a nice thing. But I think I don't think there was anything else in the. So that was all kind of the stuff that dove into the Sea of Thieves news video that we got this last week, and I said it on Twitter, and I talked a lot about it last episode, but I just want to reiterate that the fact that Rare is so strong in a resounding way that they are in support of Black Lives Matter, that as happy as this episode has been, I promised you guys I wanted to have a nice, happy episode. I did want to bring back the fact that this is still a very hard time for a lot of people in the world, dealing with a pandemic, dealing with inequality and police brutality. These are the kind of times right now where if you're enjoying this, I would urge you, take a moment to go out and see if you can share some news, if you can retweet something, if you can voice your thoughts on in support of this, and try and help keep this relevant, because a lot of the time the media has a habit of trying to bring attention to the most forefront problem. And while a lot of protesting has kind of waned down, there are still a lot of people out there going out there and trying to bring awareness to this so that we can continue this matter. So Doug, I know it's tough for me to bring you on and kind of throw this out there because I mean I'm not going to presume any decision on this, so you don't have to necessarily say anything about this if you don't want to. But I just wanted to take a moment to kind of reiterate that I appreciate that Rare has again reaffirmed that they're supporting Black Lives Matter, just like this is it's Gay Pride Month in June.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm so bummed out because I feel like this is like their month. This is their month where they get to go out and have parades and have festivals and stuff like that. And they can't. And it sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to the time where we're able to go out, we're able to spend time with each other, we're able to have festivals and conventions and feel safe from anything.
Yeah. No, it's been a really tough few weeks. It's important to remember that, the stuff that has come to the light recently, it's not new. It's been going on for a really, really long time. And as rough as the last few weeks have been, for a lot of people, it's good that we're having this. The unrest is on some level a good thing. We're having a conversation. We're taking a hard look at ourselves and our society and how it works, and at least recognizing the problem, which is a very important first step. And it's just a first step, but at least we're getting there and people are seeing that this has been happening because this is stuff that's been going on for generations. And I've seen some of it even firsthand. And, find people that you can support in your life that might be looking for it right now. Find people that might feel marginalized and find a way to help them not feel marginalized. And and stay safe out there, but make your voice heard. And Sea of Thieves has always had, and Rare has always had, a inclusive, this game is for everyone, gaming is for everyone, type of message. And it's great to be associated with a studio that not just makes a great game but wants to take stances on things like that. And so it's good to have that conversation, and I hope that we're going to see positive changes in the coming days and weeks.
Oh, I think we already are. And that's what's exciting to me. And that's why I think a lot of people tend to kind of be like, all right, cool, problem solved, and move on.
Yeah.
But it's really amazing just how much work people have put into it and how much how much effort that they're putting into it is exceptional. So while the smart people are doing cool stuff like that to help change the world for the better, I just wanted to take a moment out of my selfish little world where I talk about video games with you to kind of readdress that and be like, hey, you know what? There's still some cool stuff going on in the world outside of Sea of Thieves. And I just wanted to kind of keep that at the forefront of your mind during this. One of the things that I'm going to be getting into after our interviews is I've got a partner now. I'm part of a podcasting network, and I'll talk a little bit more about that and the expectation. So if you're listening to this and things are a little bit different, it's because I've got support now, and I'm really excited for that. And I'm going to be talking a little bit more about that later on. But Doug, was there anything that you can think of that we missed that you wanted to jump onto? Because we could probably be talking for days about anything.
We definitely could. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, we did talk a little bit about the Race of Legends. I did want to mention, we do have other events, of course, Tales of Legend coming soon. Very excited about that. We also do the Curse of Legends about every other month. That's kind of like if you've played like Infection and Halo, it's that type of style where you have one ship that starts out as a curse ship. They're fighting 4 ships that are on the pirate team, and it's a 1v4. And then as people die or sink, they switch over to the curse side. It's a ton of fun. We just did this past Saturday, and it was awesome. We had some great crews. And I also, whenever I talk about the Race of Legends, I always want to make sure that I mention Owl, Mike, and Kaitsu, who helped me with everything. Especially Kaitsu, who does like the overlays for the streams and the graphics. And like, if you've watched King of the Grill, our area control PvP game that we do, we did one this past Friday. We do them about every other Friday. But that was invented by Mike. And Kaitsu created like his own website with these custom overlays to update the points in real time. Owl helps us out with community management. Owl is a big reason why the Curse of Legends even exists. She helped develop the idea, and then she's always been on top of helping us refine the rules. It's just, I'm so grateful for that team. And I don't know how I would have done this without them. And so whenever I talk about the Race of Legends, the Curse of Legends, and King of the Grill, and our other events, and we've actually got another new event that we'll talk about in a couple weeks here. I'll be tweeting about it. We do have another new event coming. Yes, I'm very excited. It's going to be great, and it'll be on a weeknight as well. That's it. Oh, you're not going to. Okay, I'll say one thing, and I haven't said anything about this publicly yet. I will say it's going to be a sword fight tournament. Yeah. Oh. And the name is so awesome that I have to wait to unveil the name. But it's a good name. I didn't come up with it, but it's a really good name.
Please tell me everyone has to wear really big hats with really long feathers.
We may have to add that into the rule. That might be a good idea. Floppy hats are important for sword fights. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. You have to. Anyone that's been a fan of Musketeers or Pirates of the Caribbean, floppy hats with big feathers is a must in any good sword fight.
Just amps up the drama. Yeah, definitely.
It adds the flair. You got to have the flair, the confidence, the pumph. It has to be in there. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I'm looking forward to hearing about this then. Awesome. Oh yeah. So if you guys don't know, follow Doug over on Twitter at twitter.com/Dread Pirate Doug. It's just how it sounds.
It's Dread Doug. I couldn't get Dread Pirate Doug.
That's so weird too. Okay, so at Dread Doug. Yep. And I will have it's going to be really funny one day when you take the pirate out of there and people are just like, why is he Dread Doug?
Yeah, it's going to make no sense.
Why is it Dread Doug? So so I'll have and of course we're going to have links in the show notes so you guys can have a chance to go at your leisure to go visit Race of Legends if you want to sign up. If you want to sign up for Tales of Legend, if you want to follow Dread on Twitch and Twitter, there's all those different things. And of course, not to kind of discount your compatriots, but yeah, they Kaitsu and Owl and them, they do a great job. They are some of the best community members out there. And it's all stuff that we're all basically doing this out of the passion. I don't know too many people who make a living off of Sea of Thieves content. There's some streamers out there and some YouTubers out there, but for the most part, a lot of us are just doing this because we just love the darn game. And absolutely. With the Steam, that's one thing I do want to say. The stream concurrency for Sea of Thieves has increased its previous 24 hours every day for the past 7 days. It's gone from hardly anything to 40,000 to 45,000, all the way up. I think the latest one was 52 or 54.
Oh, I saw 63 today.
Oh, you saw 63 today? 63 today. Concurrency on 6/14/2020. It is just increasing. And I just want to remind people that this is a game that people are paying for in Steam when it's free on Game Pass.
$40.
They're paying $40 for this game, and they are slowly starting to ramp up because I think the original mark for PC was somewhere around 20% of the population. Most people typically play on their Xbox, and it's nice to see that a lot of people are picking up this game on Steam because a lot of people generally just like to play games on their PC if that's where they play a lot of their games. And most people generally don't buy stuff from the Microsoft Store. Steam's kind of where it's at. So the fact that this game has continued, and I think I was reading some tweets, a lot of people who know more about this than I do say that anything over 30,000 concurrent players is considered a success. So Sea of Thieves having double that is pretty freaking awesome.
Yep.
So congrats to Rare for releasing this game on Steam and having it be such a success. And I can't wait to find out what's coming beyond Haunted Shores on the 17th. I think it's going to be awesome. And
yes. I feel like the Steam release, especially for those of us that have been around, like obviously, the game launched and people were excited. And then some people said, like a lot of people, were saying, oh, there's nothing to do, blah, blah, blah. And Rare took that as a challenge, crushed it for 2 years. Now they've launched on Steam and it's got, when I looked this morning, 83% positive, which is at least what the game deserves. And it's just very vindicating to see this whole new community. And I think it's fair to say a relatively discerning community over there at Steam, right? To put it nicely.
Totally.
And they're like, wow, this game's awesome. And it is, guys. It was awesome the whole time. So welcome.
It's true. Yeah. Anyone that's listening to this that's coming from Steam, welcome. There's plenty of content for you to dive into. And there's plenty of people out in the community, especially on Twitter, especially on Reddit, that you can get in touch with who are more than willing to share their community with you. And once you get into a community, it's kind of like having a second home. Yeah. It's a good way to find people to sail with, to kind of teach you the ropes and stuff. And I got a whole nother episode that I think I might do later on with Thor, just talking about some of the stuff that he and I were blathering on about yesterday when we were playing, about ideas for cool ideas on how to create like a really cool tutorial that kind of swaps the tables per se, so that you aren't just playing a pirate, that maybe you're playing another type of pirate, and that other type of pirate's a pirate that you generally kill in the seas when you are out and about. Ooh. But I'll kind of leave that on as a little bit of a teaser if I can get Thor on the next episode, hopefully, to talk about that. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Doug, is there anything you want to touch on before we kind of wrap things up?
If you're listening to this on the day that it comes out or that week, we've got a race on Friday, or I'm sorry, we've got a race on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So feel free to swing by. But yeah, other than that, I mean, this has been a huge honor, huge fan of the podcast. I mean, when I first started listening to it a year ago, I never would have imagined that I'd be getting interviewed on this thing. It's awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for doing so much for the community and constantly bringing out good content for people to check out, to experience, to have fun with. And if I can hope for anything, it's just that Rare sees what you're doing and helps even more than they already have, and helps kind of build this up into its own game mode, because I definitely think that it should. I think it's a much more interesting aspect to the game than the arena is at the moment. I know that's a big dig on the arena, but it's just how I feel. I'm just a much more of an adventure person, and the emergent stuff that you built into just racing your ship outside of like you said, keeping the sails into the wind, right, is awesome. And everyone should really take some time to go check it out, because I think you might be surprised on some of the crazy, wacky stuff that people come up with. I can't remember who, I wish I could credit the quote for this, but there was a quote that I saw, and I want to say it was Patton. I can't remember, but I think it was Patton that said, tell people to go do stuff, not how to do stuff, and be amazed at how they figure out how to do it. And that's kind of what you do. Yeah, you tell people exactly what they got to do, and you leave it up to them to figure out how they do it. Yeah, and that's what makes the Race of Legends so much fun to watch, is seeing how people come up with ideas to get around things. Yeah,
some of these crews do stuff, and we're like, wow, that never crossed our mind. But we keep as few rules as possible to allow people the freedom and creativity to do that stuff. And there are even different metas that come in and out of fashion sometimes with certain types of obstacles that we've had every season. And it's just so much fun to watch. The crews that compete are just amazing. We have a really positive, supportive community, but boy, these guys compete like you would not believe. It's amazing. They put a lot of work into getting ready and take a lot of pride in how they perform in the races. It's fantastic.
Totally. Tools, not rules. And keep being kind to each other. Follow the pirate code. Take care of one another. And I think that's going to do it for this episode. Doug, thank you so much again for jumping in with me and chatting about Sea of Thieves.
Thanks for having me. This was amazing.
All right, pirates, that's going to do it for this episode of Keelhauled. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. If you did, make sure you head over to iTunes to rate, subscribe, view, all the things that you normally do. But most of you are actually listening to this on Spotify as well, too. So thank you so much. Make sure you follow. I do put this out on YouTube as well. So make sure you subscribe and like if you can listen to it on YouTube at work and not on your phone. And if you guys want, I always have merchandise. I should have some new stuff coming out soon to reflect some of the mishaps with my pronunciation of the word tomes that I usually have problems with until I actually say it and remember that I shouldn't be saying it that way. But I'll have some more information for that coming in the future. Pirates, thank you again. If you want to get a hold of me, there's always ways that you can do it. You can reach out to me on email through CaptainLogun@gmail.com. You can always reach me on Twitter at CAPT_LOGUN. You can always reach me over on the Discord as well, too. There's links in the show notes to join the Discord. Say hi to everyone. There's a tavern that you can talk generally about. We got some LFP or looking for pirate channels. We also talk about other games as well as the new Wi-Fi router that's coming out from Sony. And I think that's going to do it, pirates. Thank you so much for joining me. I love you, and I look forward to sailing with you on the Sea of Thieves.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.